Hello. Today I'm going to review Stolen Moments by John Hiatt. It's my first album review. It's only the second video on my channel. And my name is Prog Rock Anarchy, and you're probably wondering why my first review isn't a prog rock album. This is certainly not prog rock. The reason is because it's the first album I ever loved. I've loved this album since I was about 3. Seriously. I remember my dad used to play it in the car when I was a kid. I used to really love it. It's a guy called John Hiatt, who's an American artist who one of his songs called "Riding with the King." Eric Clapton and B.B. King, I think, did a cover version of that. So he's famous in that he has inspired. I wouldn't say inspired, but famous musicians like Eric Clapton and B.B. King have obviously done cover versions of his songs, and some others. And I think he has a few connections to Bruce Springsteen as well, but he's not very well known. He's not exactly a household name. But this is the first album I ever loved, so I'm gonna give it a listen. This vinyl version I actually got not that long ago. I live in Scotland. Obviously, you can tell by my accent. I was in Glasgow and I actually saw this used in a DVD and record shop. And as soon as I saw it, it was like £3. So as soon as I thought, right, I need to get that because it's the first album I ever loved, and I love having vinyls. So if I see the first album I ever loved on vinyl, I'm gonna get it, especially if it's like £3. The album has 12 songs on it, all short ones. I'm gonna try and not talk about prog rock or anything like that in this review. Obviously, my name's Prog Rock Anarchy, but I think maybe one of the reasons I'm reviewing this first is to sort of give an idea that I won't just be doing prog rock. I do like lots of other stuff, and I will be reviewing non-prog albums. But I'd say the majority of my reviews are going to be prog rock. My personal favourite band is actually Iron Maiden, and it's debatable whether they're prog rock or not, but I will definitely be reviewing them as well. But today, Stolen Moments by John Hiatt. The album starts off with Real Fine Love, which it's just got a really great feel to it. Most of the songs are quite uplifting. Most of them tend to be about love, and there's certainly more of a pop feel to it than anything else. The album, it was released in 1990. Most of his music is about love, something like that, not just on the album. And it's sort of, I wouldn't really know how to describe it. It's rock. It can be country at times. I think one thing I like about him is a lot of John Hiatt's albums sound very different. He hit a streak of brilliance between, I'd say, the late 80s to the mid 90s. His albums Bring the Family up till Walk On were fantastic albums. Like pretty much everything he did were brilliant, and they all sounded different. This one has quite a few styles. Real Fine Love. The songs are a little bit difficult to describe for someone who I like prog rock so much. So when I'm delving into music that I don't really know much about, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to talk about. But one thing you'll notice is that he's a good lyricist. He's got great lyrics. Real Fine Love. So many of these songs bring me back to my childhood, and Real Fine Love is definitely one of them. It's just got a great feel to it. It wasn't on any of his greatest hits albums. I personally think it should have been. It's just such a fantastic album opener. But my favourite song on the album is the second one, Seven Little Indians, which wasn't always my favourite one. Again, the lyrics are fantastic of Seven Little Indians. I've obviously got the vinyl here. The lyrics of Seven Little Indians seems to talk about modern things, but comparing it to like Indians. So like dancing around the TV screen, that sort of thing. It's more talking about how it's comparing us to Indians, like the modern world to Indians, but I'm not saying there's anything political behind it. I just feel like it's really clever lyrics, and it's got a great feel to it. It's very different song. One thing you might notice about the album is that for most of it, you get a quite rock one. You get a quite sort of heavy. I wouldn't say heavy, but quite rock going one, and then a quite slow one, and it sort of goes like that throughout the album. Like tracks 1, 3, 5, 7 are quite heavy, while tracks 2, 4, 6, 8 are more slow, and it's just one thing it's just something I've noticed about the album. The third track, "Child of the Wild Blue Yonder," is one of my personal least favourites on the album. Though it seems to be the most popular, or at least John Hiatt's favourite one, because it is the only track from the album that appeared on his 1997 Best Of album. It was personally one of my least favourites. Again, it's faster than Seven Little Indians. It's got a good feel to it, but I don't know what it is about it. It's just there's something about it. I've never quite enjoyed Child of the Wild Blue Yonder, even since I was like 4 years old. It hasn't been my favourite song on the album. The fourth one, "Back in My Mind," is one I've really liked, and I used to get the lyrics wrong when I was a kid. Very emotional song, and it always leads up to the fifth song, which is the title track, "Stolen Moments," which I'd probably say is the first song I ever loved. If this was the first album I ever loved, then I'd say "Stolen Moments" was the first song I ever loved. It was definitely the one I loved the most as a kid. Now, as I'm older, I feel "Seven Little Indians" is a better song. I still like "Stolen Moments" though. It is a good song. One thing you'll notice about it is, again, good lyrics. There's pretty much good lyrics throughout the whole album. Most of John Hiatt's lyrics are pretty strong. For a guy who writes about love most of the time, and by love I don't mean like the way Rush, if you listen to Rush, the way Rush talk about love. More your usual sort of, I don't want to say generic, but Bruce Springsteen-ish. The lyrics have a bit of a Bruce Springsteen quality to them. If you listen to Bruce Springsteen, and you like his lyrics, then you might enjoy John Hiatt, because their music styles can be a bit similar at times, and their lyrics do have a similar style as well. Track 6, which is the last track on the first side if you've got the vinyl edition, "Bring Back Your Love to Me." Again, one of my least favourite ones on the album. But again, very, very different. That's another thing I really like about this album. Every song feels different, and that's the way most of his music goes. So, in a way, he does have a bit of a progressive quality to him. That's probably why I still like him. I tend to much more enjoy experimental music nowadays, but I find myself going back to him, not just because nostalgia. Nostalgia is definitely a part of it, but he is good. Track 7, "The Rest of the Dream," has a lot of keyboard going on in it, which I like. Nothing proggy, but a lot of keyboard. Great lyrics, great uplifting feel to it. 30 Years of Tears, again, is a slow one. Really, really good. Great lyrics. A lot of these made me feel different emotions as a kid. And that's probably, again, nostalgia is definitely a part of it. That's another reason why I really love the album. 30 Years of Tears, the opening line, "Is this a place I can rest my poor head?" I always liked that as a kid. I don't know why. The 9th track, "Rock Back Billy," is more of a comedy song. I always used to laugh at it when I was a kid, because there's a bit in it where he makes a chicken noise. I always thought that was funny. I still like the song, though I would say it's probably one of the weaker ones on the album. "Listening to Old Voices," track 10, is easily one of the best ones. Fantastic lyrics, probably the best lyrics on the album. I'm not 100% sure what the lyrics are about, but there's certain lines in it, like "There's a spider at my window, and she spins a web of truth, more beautiful than all these memories." And it just sort of makes me think of the dead. Not in a bad way, more thinking about how memories of of people who have died, lived on, that sort of thing. Maybe that's what it's about. I'm not 100% sure. Track 11, Through Your Hands, is a duet. He sings it along with, I don't know, I'm not going to spend ages going through it trying to figure out who he sings the song with, but there's definitely a woman's voice there. Oh, just let you know, John Hiatt also did a duet with Johnny Cash's wife. What's her name again? Ugh, I should really know that. I should really know what Johnny Cash's wife's name is. Something Cash, obviously. But he did a duet with her, and obviously she's really famous. That's gonna annoy me that I can't figure out her name. But just to let you know, he has worked with really famous people. So, but people don't tend to know him. Through Your Hands is another one with really good lyrics. Again, I don't know what it's about. It's a little bit hard to describe the lyrics if I'm not completely sure what they're about. But track 12, the last one, One Kiss. Good song, but again, I'd say one of the weaker ones. I personally feel like you should have ended the album on a slow song than a sort of fast-paced one. It sort of sticks out like a sore thumb a wee bit. It has this feel to it that doesn't quite fit the rest of the album. I do like it though. Since it's always been a part of the album, obviously, and I've always liked it, it does feel like a part of the album to me, but I feel like if I was listening to it for the first time, it wouldn't feel like a part of the album. It sort of sticks out a wee bit more if I hadn't liked it for so long. I'm sure there's loads of albums like that that you've listened to for so long that every song feels familiar, but if you were listening to it for the first time, you might think, oh, that song doesn't really work in the context of the album. Fast-paced, and one thing I always noticed is if you listen to it on headphones or with speakers, the sound goes from ear to ear, which obviously isn't a new thing. It's just, it was probably the first time I noticed that technique as a kid, because again, I've liked this album since I was like 4, and I remember listening to it in the car with my dad, and the music would go from ear to ear out of the speakers, and it was the first time I ever noticed that could be done, so that was cool. But yeah, probably not a great review. I wish I had a bit more to say about it. It's an old album, came out in 1990. It is a good album. Again, he's not very famous. He's not very well known. But I'd say this is probably my personal favourite John Hiatt album. I might review more of his albums. I don't know. This is the only one I have on vinyl because it's the only one I could find on vinyl. And it's my favourite album of his, and it was obviously the first album I ever loved. So for me, it was very important to have this one on vinyl if I could find it, which I did, obviously. So I don't know if I'll be reviewing any more of his albums. I might, but if I were you, I'd give him a listen. I'll probably review a prog rock album next, but I thought I'd just start with the first album I ever loved. Thought, do it that way. It seemed fitting. So there you go. That's Stolen Moments by John Hiatt. I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you haven't heard it, which you probably haven't because he's not very well known, I hope you enjoy the album if you want to give it a listen. Thanks for watching.